Welcome, everybody. We are now live. Can everyone hear me? I'm looking at Eric. Can you hear me? I see people nodding. Thank you. Thank you, speakers, fear fighters. So welcome to our second round of Punch Fear in the Face Live, where we are going to have some amazing people come on and fight their fear of going live, telling us about their business or a business idea they have. So welcome, everyone. We'll wait a little bit for people to join the stream. To get started, let's see. So welcome. Let's hear, comment for me. Where are you in the world and how are you really feeling tonight? How are you feeling and where are you in the world? I want to see. So put that in the comments. And if you are joining us from the Facebook group, please grant StreamYard permission to see your name before you comment. There is a link right in the description. All you have to do is tap it. If you do have a super private Facebook, it's going to show you as Facebook user to protect your identity, but we'll still be able to see your comments. So let's see, where in the world is everyone and how are you feeling right now? Stephanie cannot wait. Stephanie Ganea, one of our past fear fighters, cannot wait. The anticipation is killing her. It's great to see you back, Stephanie. A fun fact about Stephanie is that she does a lot of pretty much most of the graphics that you see. She's a fantastic graphic designer, graphic communications. So any of that work, do not give me credit. It is all her. Ooh, I see more people. Chris Wilson. Hey, happy to be here. Amazing. Welcome, Chris. Judith in Winnipeg. Amazing to see you back again for the second round. And Chris is coming from Hamilton. Hamilton represent. Amazing. Stephanie is in Vancouver, BC. She's feeling a little anxious from all the coffee, but excited for this. Anxious is the name of the game here. Even though I'm the host, I'm a little anxious too every time. That's normal. We have, oh, this is Eric here. He's going to be controlling a lot of the live stream today. So hopefully he does a great job or else we're going to have to fire him. But yes, we're coming here from Oakville. Ooh, we have someone in Toronto saying, go Alyssa. I can't wait to see who this is later. I always play a guessing game with myself to try to figure it out. Eric is nervous to be controlling the screen. It's good. Nervousness is how we grow. By facing our fears, by pushing through nervousness, we develop. So it's okay to be nervous, Eric. You're going to do great. I have faith in you. All right. So we're almost 5 minutes in. So I think we're ready to get started. Some people will come in still shortly. That's okay. But to get started here, I'm just going to talk about the rules for tonight. So the rules of Fear Fight Club. Rule number 1, you do not talk about Fear Fight Club. Rule number 2, you do not talk about Fear Fight Club. No, I'm just kidding. We want as many people here as possible. So feel free to share, invite your friends. We still haven't started yet, so there's time to join us. What we're going to do is have our amazing fear fighters come on. They're going to have about 10 minutes to tell us about their business or business idea, facing fear, live here for you today. You're going to have a chance to ask them questions. They can ask you questions. It's a supportive and encouraging environment. So I'm going to ask you at the end of each speaker to just share what you loved about that speaker. Maybe something they said, maybe how they said it. Just give them some positive feedback and encouragement. Going live is not easy. I've done it a handful of times now, and it still freaks me out. So please give them all the positivity that you can. So before we get started, just to warm up, let's answer some questions. So I would love to know from the audience, what is a fear that you've been feeling? Maybe it's something you've been afraid of your whole life. Maybe it's something that you're afraid of lately that's been getting you anxious or nervous. What is something you are afraid of? It could be even going live. That was one for me about a month ago that I have been fighting to get through with events like these. So what is something you're fearful of? Something you're afraid of? I know for me, we recently decided that we're going to be moving 2 provinces over in less than 2 months from now. And to be quite honest, it's something I'm a little bit nervous of. Big transitions in life can be quite scary, although I'm quite excited too. But you never know. And traveling during these times is a little bit different too. We'll be driving, but you don't know what you're going to come across. So that's something I'm afraid of. Oh, I see one here. We got Eric. Eric is afraid of public speaking. We need to get Eric in here. I know I can pull him in. He's probably nervous right now, his heart beating in fear. I can see him shaking his head, thinking I might bring him in. We're going to get you one day, Eric. Don't you worry. Rebecca McDonald, the future is scary. It is, especially right now. I think it's very unclear what the future is going to look like. And that's scary. I know for myself, I've been having a lot more anxiety, not knowing what's ahead. You can't really plan for things. You can't plan for vacations. The future is definitely scary. Stephanie Ganea, scared of all of her upcoming deadlines. You've got this. It is good to be in high demand. It is good to have deadlines. You can do it. I know you can. All right, so those are some great fears. I think it's interesting, like we all kind of fear similar things. The future, the uncertainty, deadlines, even the positive things like having work and deadlines, we fear. So here's another one. Let's just get a boost of positivity before we bring on our first speaker and all get scared. What is a win that you have had recently? What is a win that you have had recently? For myself, coming onto this every time is a win. I guess this is now my 5th time doing a longer form live, and it's still nerve-wracking every single time. So it's always a win. Showing up. Ooh, we actually have some more fears though. I want to bring these in. The fear of having so many cool ideas and wanting to do them all before I kick the bucket. Chris, I feel you so much on that one. I think about it all the time. Like, I just don't want to die now that we've launched the Win Journal. I feel like I still have so much to do with it and not enough time. So I feel you on that. And Nicole Ganea is scared of starting a new job in this economy. I don't think you're alone. I'm sure a lot of people are in that boat. We also have some advice for Eric. I love that we get advice all the time from the commenters. Eric, try Toastmasters. I've actually suggested this to him, so maybe. But getting back to the wins, Eric sold a bunch of stuff. That's his win. He's been going crazy, selling pretty much everything in this house. Every time I joke, every time I come into the house, something's gone. He sold it. So we are getting rid of pretty much all of our stuff to move to Alberta, taking what we can fit in 2 vehicles. So that's a big win for Eric. Rebecca McDonald, her win was playing tennis for the first time after talking about it for 5 years. That's a huge win. There's something about those wins that we really put off and that take a long time to do that feel really, really good. So soak that in and enjoy it. Oh, another person. I've wanted to try Toastmasters. Interesting. Eric, you have a friend. Stephanie will join with you. All right, I'm not going to take up too much more time. We're at the 10-minute mark, and I am ready to bring on our first speaker. Lillian, are you ready? She is ready. Eric, it is now your chance. Take it away.
Just wanted to make sure everyone can hear me. Hi, my name is Lillian. Okay, good. Hi, my name is Lillian. I'm a copywriter, social media strategist, and publicist with my company In Retrospect Writing Services. And I've been running it for about 13 years now, doing everything from writing web copy and digital ad copy to planning social media campaigns and doing a lot of public and media relations for clients in indie film and television, tech, food and beverage, and a lot of solopreneurs. I actually recently just launched a new set of services for my businesses known as strategic consulting. Now, I decided to launch this in response to what's been going on with the pandemic, because I've been reaching out to a lot of solopreneurs and entrepreneurs who are stuck in their marketing strategy, and they don't really know where they need help, but they know that they need help, and they can't always afford to have someone come in and actually implement the strategy for them. So what I do is I sit down with them and I say, you know, what's the area that you really want me to look at right now? Sometimes they're like, I'm not happy with my website copy. Other times it's my email campaigns aren't converting, or it's, you know, I can't get people to engage with my Instagram account. You know, can you give me a hand here? Can you help me? I'm stuck. So what I do with my new consulting services is I sit down with them and I do an in-depth dive into what their brand is about, what they've been doing currently with their website, their email campaigns, their digital ads, social media, or even their publicity campaigns. And I talk them through and make some suggestions and recommendations on how to improve the outcomes on increasing sales, getting more website traffic, getting actual media and reporters and that to get back to them on scheduling interviews, things like that. So I give them a set of recommendations and work with them on how to implement it on their own. And this was an additional service that I decided to add because I felt like there was a need for it. There was a lot of people coming to me who said that they needed help with strategy, but that they couldn't always afford to have someone come in and actually implement the strategy for them. So I helped them build out the strategy, and then they learn how to implement it on their own.
Amazing. And you said you found that through people asking you. So people were asking you for this product or service.
Yeah, they were asked. Yes, they were asking me for the service, and it was also coming through just what we've been going through. They were asking for it, and I also put the call out saying I'm offering a couple of free ones if you want to try it out, just to see how it could help improve your, you know, conversion rates on your website copy, getting more sales through your emails, and also doing better on publicity campaigns. So it's been really interesting to kind of offer that and sort of see where everyone's needs are at, and also see sort of what everyone's been struggling with. There's been a lot of really similar threads, particularly on social media. A lot of people struggling with their Instagram engagement, and a lot of people talking about, you know, I'm putting out all this great content and I'm not getting any engagement and I don't know why. So it's sort of really sitting down with them and helping them figure out what their goals are, how to meet them, and sort of how to sort of tweak some of the ideas they already have, or even give them new recommendations of, you know, hey, I noticed you're launching a new course. Have you thought about doing video posts to help preview the course and give people a little bit of a taste on you know, what they can expect when they sign up for it? Things like that, where a lot of people don't necessarily think about when they're launching a new service or a new product. So it's been really interesting to kind of help these people out, and it's from all different industries. There's people in fitness, there's been artists, there's been a lot of life coaches that have come through. There's even been people that are in indie film and television who would normally be in front of the camera, but because we've stopped everything, they've now turned to creating their own acting and screenwriting courses. And they're like, well, how do I go about promoting that? Because, you know, my social media accounts have been dormant for so long because I just haven't had anything to post. And I said, well, start with the interactive content. Start with building some consistent engagement back into your accounts, and you'll see the numbers and the engagement go up.
Would you say consistency is really important for that? For any kind of, we do have a lot of solopreneurs and business owners in the audience.
Definitely consistency is important. I think what people have a tendency to get tripped up over, though, is that consistency looks different for everybody and for every business. There's going to be people that will post 3 to 4 to 5 times a week because they have enough going on. They're selling enough products. They're promoting a number of services. They're out there doing interviews. They're out there doing thought leadership opportunities. Because they have enough going on, they can afford to post more. For a lot of people, they always get stuck on numbers when it comes to consistency and posting. They're always like, oh, you know, someone's told me that I need to post 3 or 4 times a week in order to stay consistent, and I just don't have enough content to keep that up week after week after week. And what I say there is, I said, you know, look at what it is you're currently doing and how you want to promote it. For myself, writing is my bread and butter. Writing is what I do all the time for myself. So I start off with my blog post schedule. What does that look like on a monthly basis? When do I want to schedule those? And once I schedule those and they go live, then it's like, okay, for Instagram, because it's more visual, how do I go about creating more engaging content that's going to help me promote my blog posts on there? Well, I create image carousel posts that summarize each blog post. And I have done videos where I actually narrate through those images and kind of lead people through on what the subject is about, you know, giving them something a little bit more in depth than just the image checklist and summarizing the blog posts. And I decided to do that because I said, you know, it's more visual as a platform. I'm challenging myself by doing more video, which I refused to do for years. And it's worked out really well. But for me, when it comes to that schedule, I stick to 2 times a week because I said, that's enough time for me to space out the times that I post the content and to get enough engagement. And I don't feel like I'm constantly trying to produce content, constantly trying to schedule things. I try to work at least 4 to 6 weeks ahead so that I can have that good timetable and I have an idea of what's going to go out when. So it's what I always tell people is, you know, when you're talking about consistency, start out slow. Start out slow. I mean, if you only have one product or one service, try 1 post a week. You know, see how it does. Try different images. Try video. Try doing a checklist of sorts as an image or an infographic. See how they do, because if there's anything that I've learned in all these years of doing marketing for clients and even doing it for myself, it really comes down to trial and error and what works better and when you post it and how you post it, and also the types of audiences that you've been engaging with. You know, that's really important too. You have to, consistency is not just about posting, it's about going on there every day or every other day and making an effort to see what's going on out there with your audience and how to engage with them and what they're doing and figuring out just you know, how to build that relationship. I see a question from Janie here. Great question, by the way. In terms of how my clients found me, well, I do a lot of a combination of different things. I've done a lot of networking on Facebook groups. Prior to all of this happening, I did a lot of in-person networking as well. I've spent years building up great relationships with people on both Instagram and Twitter internationally. That's actually how I found quite a few of my indie film and television clients that I work with, has been through Instagram and Twitter and building those relationships and helping to support their projects and promoting their projects. So a lot of it has been a lot of online networking and just engaging with people. And a lot of it is not just even interacting with their content, but if I see something interesting, I will tag them, I will share it with them and just be, you know, start a conversation over it. Say to them, hey, you know, I noticed this I have a 3 distinct networks on Twitter. I call them my horror brethren, my indie film brethren, and my nerd brethren. And with all 3 of those groups, I will notice what's going on. Like, for example, the fact that there's a movie on the legal battle surrounding Tetris and the creation of the game coming out. And, I tagged a bunch of my nerd brethren on there, and they're all, international. They're all in the States, they're in the UK, and just to start that conversation with them, surrounding something that we're all interested in, which really helps to build that relationship. And then later on, I can go to them, like my horror film guys, and go, hey, my client has a film. Are you interested in reviewing it? Are you interested in interviewing them? And that makes it that much easier to get that press coverage from my client too, because I have those existing relationships already with these guys.
Totally.
Yeah, so I notice Chris has a great question about writing copy. I think if there's one big thing I've noticed, Chris, about the way people have written copy for their websites, and normally, with a lot of sort of usually write it themselves to start out with because they don't have much of a budget, and they don't want to be spending a lot on marketing. That's understandable, but if there's one thing I've noticed, it's that they tend to focus a lot more on both the features of what they're providing, whether it's a product or a service, and they tend to talk a lot about themselves. Here's the thing. Any prospective customer that's coming to your website is going to want to know one thing, and that is, how can the product or the service you're providing address my pain points? What's it going to do for me? How can you help me solve my problems? Everything else, your background, the features of the product, that is secondary to how you can help your customers solve their problems. And indeed, I mean, in the last few months, every copy consultation I've done for websites, when I look over their websites, I always tell them, you need to be focusing not so much on the features of what you do, but the benefits. If you're a life coach and you provide individual coaching sessions, how is coming to you going to help somebody remove the barriers in their lives, help them improve whatever it is that they're trying to do? And I find that, and it's true for any business, really. There's a lot of people who end up focusing just on their background and the features of what they do, rather than how they can benefit the consumer. And that's what the consumer really wants to know. Everything else is just window dressing.
It's such good advice. I find it hard. Even now I'm thinking I need to go back and write my website and check it out and audit it from that perspective. But it's so true. Like, you really need to think what matters to the customer, because they don't know you yet. You might be cool. I don't think they care. They want to know, how can you help them?
Absolutely.
It's so cool. I also heard, I know someone said they love your business's name. I love it too. How did you think of that, by the way?
I originally came up with it just in retrospect, and in looking back on my life and kind of where I wanted to go professionally, and how to build on that. And I said, maybe that would be a good business name. And then 13 years later, it's sort of stuck. And I'm like, I like it. I think it really speaks to my goals of helping people look back on what they've done so far and how to build on that for the future. So I think it fits with everything that I do.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. I know even I can see Janie said, thank you so much for the insights. She's been working on branching out her network a bit. So making connections with different clients in the way you have is helpful to her, and she appreciates hearing your advice. If anyone needs help, we now know a writer here who can help us with our copy. You're a nerd also. I'm sure you can find her on Twitter. Maybe you'll join the Nerd Brethren. Someone else loves that, by the way. And thank you so much. Do you have a question you'd like to ask the audience before you leave?
I guess just that when it comes to marketing, sort of what's been pretty broad question, but what's sort of been the top struggle for everyone since the pandemic in particular has hit everyone? What's kind of been your top struggle?
What has been your top struggle with marketing since the pandemic has hit? So people drop those in the comments. Thank you so much for coming on, Lillian.
Absolutely.
We hope you'll stay around and check out the next speakers and contribute, and definitely check out, they'll be posting answers soon. Biggest marketing struggle since COVID. Thank you so much, Lillian. It was great to have you. I really appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. Wow, so cool. I'm honestly really thinking like I need to go back to the Wind Journal website and audit it. I'm definitely scared that there's going to be a lot of features and some talk about me and not enough about the benefits of the journal. So thank you, Lillian. That's going to be on my to-do list now tomorrow. But great, super cool. Also, Stephanie, your work in the film industry sounds cool. Curious to hear more. I really hope you guys connect. Oh, my mom is here. This is amazing. Thank you for the applause, Mom. Also, everyone, in addition to Lillian's comment, please drop a line telling her what you loved about something she said, her pitch, her delivery, anything. Give her a boost of positivity and some encouragement. It is not easy coming on here and talking about yourself for 10 minutes. You've inspired Janie Boo as well. She's got work to do too. Janie, let's connect. Let's go through our websites. I'll help you out. So next we are going to have someone special come on who actually shares my name, the other Alyssa. I cannot wait. Are you ready to come on, Alyssa? I think she's ready. I'm going to assume she's ready. She's smiling and laughing. So let's bring on Alyssa. Hello.
Hello.
How is it going?
Oh, pretty good. How are you?
Great. I'm fantastic. I'm a little less nervous now. I'm always nervous during the day before this starts, but once it gets going, it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, once everybody starts talking, I feel like it just goes with the flow.
Oh, absolutely. So this time is yours. I'm happy to jump in with questions and we'll bring in the audience. But first, why don't you tell everyone about yourself and what you do?
Okay, great. Can you guys can all hear me, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I'm Alyssa. I'm an anxiety coach. I actually became an anxiety coach about a little over a year ago. I had dealt with a lot of my own anxiety over the last almost decade. And I also own a yoga studio. So a lot of the students in the yoga studio, particularly women, were coming to me because I had always been very open about my anxiety and struggles, and just really always put it out there because it's nothing to be ashamed of or anything. And I feel like most of the time when you're dealing with anxiety, that's a feeling that is very common. It's a shameful thing almost. A lot of women had actually come to me and asked me for guidance and support in a lot of different ways. So over time, and it took a couple of years for it to really click for me, I feel, but I decided to make a program incorporating everything that I've done over the years using my life coaching certification to help coach and guide women that are struggling with anxiety, usually between like the ages of like 20 to like 40, 50-ish. So there's a broad range that I'm comfortable working with, but mainly women, because I am a woman. So it's a little identify, I think, with a lot of the struggles that women typically deal with, like moms having like mom guilt and things like that. Not that I am a mom yet, but it's just something that I feel a lot of things, like when you're a mom, or if you're a business owner or anything like that, it's a little more difficult to carve out the time to take care of yourself and stop doing everything for everybody else. So that's why I particularly chose to work with women. And a lot of what I do in my program is I encourage them to check in daily via our Facebook group. And then I also have like journal entries and affirmations that we go through every day that kind of align with the modules for 4 weeks. So the program's for 4 weeks. And I'm kind of toying with the idea, I feel, to make it also into a membership where it would be like a monthly thing where you have like workshops that'll help guide you every month, and they'll kind of be based off what like we talk about as a group and kind of more resonate with them, I feel, the people that are doing it. So that's just kind of something that I've been thinking about. But the program is about everything that is natural and ways to reduce anxiety naturally. I chose that route not because I dislike medication or anything. Medication has its place and it's done wonders, like I've taken it too. But there's different ways that we can help to relieve our anxiety by getting to the root of what's actually causing it. And I feel a lot of times when we're first prescribed medication, we might not know that there are different routes to take as well as taking the medication. So like in addition to process almost to taking medication, if that's where you're at. It's been pretty cool because there's one woman in particular that I like to talk about a lot because I think it's really funny. She actually did the program with me live when I taught it a few months ago. And the 3rd week in, she was about to have a panic attack at work. And I might have told you this, Alyssa. I don't remember.
I have heard it. Yeah, it's a good one.
But she was about to have an anxiety attack, and she was able to acknowledge the symptoms and not really attach to the anxiety attack as like a negative feeling that day. So she was able to step away and go into a relaxing environment where there was a fan on her and things like that. And then she was able to tap into some of the breath work that I teach in the program too. There's 3 specific techniques that are proven to reduce anxiety, and it actually helped her to get out of the anxiety attack and to stop it. So she messaged me the day after, and she's like, I couldn't believe it worked. Because it's so simple. I feel all the techniques that we need to use to take care of ourselves. It's just getting ourselves to consistently do them. I know Lillian was talking about like consistently posting and things like that. I feel like that can apply throughout everything in life. Just consistency will win. So
consistency is really hard for humans. That's something I actually think about a lot. Like whether it's your exercise, your diet, your social media, breath work, meditation, anything, all of those things that are good for us are so hard to be consistent with.
Yeah, it really
is such a struggle.
Yeah,
getting some feedback. Rebecca McDonald says that's amazing.
Thanks, Rebecca.
So what are some, like, if someone's dealing with anxiety, what's kind of like the first tip you would tell them?
Usually I try and feel out where they're at a little bit more, but by encouraging them to dive into some suggested journaling. I know journaling's not always easy for everybody. A lot of people that I've talked to, I feel they don't like to journal because it almost makes them madder. But that's like, I like to think of it as like an onion peeling back. We have to get through those anxious feelings or those mad feelings and feel them for what they are so that we can really see what the issue is and be able to forgive whoever we're angry at, or if it's ourselves that we need to forgive, and just kind of detach from it a little bit. So that's why I think it's a struggle for some people, but I like to encourage them. And it's nice to have like a coach or like a group or something even to do stuff like that, because then I feel like when you're frustrated with journaling or meditating, then you can check in with somebody and they can tell you like to just keep pushing through and build that consistency. So you'll see the results happen eventually.
And so as a part of your community, I'm assuming just based on that, people can connect with each other, right? So how do they access each other? Like do you have a Facebook group, some kind of a private community? How does it work?
Yeah, so they can actually connect in two ways, but the main way that I like them to connect is usually in the Facebook group. And I feel like that's a little more intuitive for people. So we have the Facebook group, but there's also a community in the platform that I use. So it's like on the modules and everything, you can all comment together and have questions and things like that on there. But I usually try and also share all of those questions and everything in the Facebook group, so that nobody gets left out or like lost. So
amazing. And when did you start this again?
I started this program actually I started it initially in October of last year, but it was a little bit different. I tied a little bit more diet into it. And then yeah, I found that more people were actually resonating with a less overwhelming portion of it because I think the diet portion is a little bit, there's a lot that goes into it where I feel like it was just a little too much. So when I revamped it, it was, I believe, the end of March of this year. So about when COVID was happening, which I think also had to play into its ability to resonate with people as well, just because there was a lot of, it was and is a lot of high anxiety right now. So
oh, absolutely. I think we had someone say on our last stream, 2020 is the year of anxiety.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like, I've definitely had to return to my practices that keep my anxiety down and keep me sane. Have you found the same?
Yeah, definitely. I know that because I have such a handle on like managing my anxiety and everything, I feel that it made me open my eyes because I knew how much I was actually having anxiety during this time. So then I'm like, anybody who doesn't have the tools in their toolbox, like they must be going crazy. Because it was definitely a struggle for me as well. So I had to return to journaling every day, and like things that I got away from, I just had to return to it. So
we have some helpful tips from the audience too. Dean, who is going to be our next fear fighter, says sharing anxiety with a trusted family member or friend can be super healing as well. I think I agree. And I think that's part of the beauty of your community is even not all of us have those trusted people we can talk to or maybe even want to share it with, but you have that built-in ability. And when you see someone else doing better and improving, it makes you want to do the same. So that's amazing. And Stephanie Ganea saying, yes, diet and brain health is a huge part, but agrees it can be a lot to handle at first for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Ooh, I like this suggestion. She says maybe it could be a secondary stage or module for clients when they're ready to take that step.
Yeah,
have you thought about that?
I actually didn't, but I definitely thought of adding a little bit at a time more so to the membership option, but I didn't even think about having like the diet portion as like a step 2 kind of thing. So I like that.
Who knows? Maybe that's your next idea to work on.
Thanks, Steph.
Yeah, that's part of the magic of the show. Like, I love the feedback the audience gives. It's stuff that I would never think of. And sometimes I find you're just too close to your business that you don't always think of these things, right?
Absolutely.
Especially when you have a million things to work on all the time, as most entrepreneurs. Steph says, yes, ease them in for sure. So she's on the page with you. Amazing. And I think this is important. I want to bring this up. This is a Canadian stat from Dean. Thank you, Dean. But yeah, any given year, 1 in 5 people in Canada will personally, and the US, I'm sure, will personally experience a mental health problem or illness. Mental illness affects people of all ages, all education, income, and cultures. Approximately 8% of all adults will experience major depression at some point. That is super important to say. I know I've experienced depression. I'm sure there's a lot of people in the audience, and it doesn't help to feel alone or like you're broken. You're not. This happens to us all. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that. I just feel like I had to make that public announcement.
No, I definitely agree. And like what you guys were saying, like about having like a trusted family member or friend, I totally agree with that too. I think where some people that I've worked with struggle with it is when their family member or friend doesn't experience or hasn't yet experienced anxiety or depression. So they don't really fully understand. They try and be supportive, but that's where I think like having even like the free Facebook groups that are available, things like that, it's just a place to kind of have other people relate to you.
I actually think that could be a whole nother thing in and of itself. How do you help people with mental health struggles? Because even for me as someone who's gone through it, when someone else is struggling, I don't even know if I always have the right things to say. Like it's really hard.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that like I've dealt with severe depression twice, well at 2 different times in my life. So I feel like it's just very intuitive for me to talk about it, but I definitely know like when I've talked to like my sister who has also dealt with depression, when she's talked to me about it, it's almost like when she's out of it, she can't really fully give me the advice that I need. So so it is a struggle when you're not really on the same wavelength with somebody.
It's hard, and it doesn't make it easier. But I think it's good, and that's one bright side I think of COVID is I think it's reducing stigma against anxiety, against mental health. I think people are feeling more comfortable to talk about it and then seek help for it. And it's amazing that you're providing a program from your experience based on research, all of those things to help people out and give them those resources that are not always easy to find.
Yeah, absolutely. This time has definitely, like, I know there's like the new hotline number that's available now for like suicide watch and stuff like that. So, and then there's like a lot of the virtual therapies are available now. So I definitely think it's kind of being put out there a little bit more, which is nice. And it's not something to be shameful of. Like I feel like it sometimes is viewed as, so.
Yeah. And this is an important one from Chris Wilson. I agree with him. It's not always what you say, but even just being a non-judgmental person there to listen, huge help for anyone dealing with anxiety. Thank you so much, Alyssa, for coming on. I really appreciate it. And where can people find you? I mean, is the handle we have good?
Yeah.
Is that a good place for them to find out about the program or about you?
Yeah, Instagram's the best place for you to connect with me. I'm usually like in my stories or my DMs on there. So anytime you want to chat or just if you want more information, you can hit me up on that handle. So
fantastic. And do you want to ask a question to the audience before you leave? Anything you'd like to ask them? Doesn't have to be about anxiety, but it could be. This is your chance to crowdsource some answers.
Yeah, I guess during COVID, what has been like the best way that you've been handling stress and or anxiety?
Ooh, that's a good question. These are all COVID questions so far.
Yeah.
I love it. How have you been handling stress and anxiety during COVID? Put it in the comments. We want to know. Oh, this is perfect timing. We want to know, how have you been dealing with your stress and anxiety in COVID times? Let Alyssa know. And drop a comment telling her what you loved about her talk, what she's doing, any other questions you have. Give Alyssa some positivity for coming on and fighting fear. Thank you so much, Alyssa.
Thank you.
I will talk to you later. Thank you so much for coming on. Amazing. So I just want to bring up some comments. Shameless plug here from Rebecca McDonald that I did see. The Wind Journal is helping me with my anxiety. First of all, I appreciate that. That is why I made the journal originally. I was struggling deeply with anxiety to the point where I was having panic attacks weekly. I had the most negative internal self voice. I felt like I was a complete failure, and I felt like I was broken and not going to amount to anything. It was really hard. It was challenging. I wish I could say that I got better for myself or was inspired to, but it was not the case. It was seeing Eric struggling, watching me struggle, that really pulled at my heart and made me fed up, to be quite frank. And looking for a way forward, I went to therapy. That's helpful. I put it off for many years, but if you are really struggling, that is the place to start. And from there, I focused on gratitude. That was something you hear all the time. Focus on the positive. Notice the good things in your day, 3 good things. And it helps. Do that. It helps. It helps you notice what is going well. But one thing I found was I still wasn't feeling confident. I still didn't feel certain of myself. I still had that really negative internal voice. I noticed the good things in my life, yet I still felt broken. And I was laying out in my hammock thinking, what can I do now? Okay, I'm not having panic attacks every week. That's good. But I'm not feeling fulfilled. I'm not feeling happy. I don't know what to do next. And I don't know if I'm capable of knowing. And it was hard. And I just had this moment of insight. Maybe I need to focus on building confidence, building my self-esteem, quieting that negative voice. And I thought, okay, let me focus on the positive actions I'm doing, not just the positive things going on, but the positive actions I'm taking to improve my life. And it started by just writing in a blank notebook, like, what are my past wins? See, I'm not a failure. What are my wins today? See, this was not a 0 day. And it's hard to write in a notebook. That was a good place to start, but I couldn't stick with the habit. I couldn't build the habit of journaling. I was struggling with that. But I knew there was still something here, because when I did read those wins, I did feel better about myself. I did say, oh yeah, I have done some stuff. I am capable of things. And so I got really dedicated to finding a way to make it happen. I taught myself InDesign, which was like a nightmare at first. I thought Eric was going to break up with me. I snapped on him in one of those moments of frustration, not knowing how it works at all. Thank goodness for the internet. You can learn anything online using Google, YouTube. I found some tutorials. I learned how to do it. I made a template that was easy to stick to, that you can record and track and celebrate your wins in just a few minutes a day. And now I've been using it ever since. I just finished my first one on Sunday, which I'm super excited about. And I got to choose a new cover. But yeah, it's important to recognize what you are doing to improve your life and start small. If you just got out of bed and even made yourself one meal, even ordered takeout and fed yourself, that can be a win. So end of my plug there. We are going to have a giveaway at the end. So if you are interested in the win journal, definitely stick around for that. But I am ready now to bring on our last fear fighter, Dean Douglas. So Eric, Dean, are you ready? He's ready. Eric, are you ready to bring him in? All right. Welcome,
hey.
Dean.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fantastic.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. I've been excited for this. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling
nervous?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling really good. We've been chatting back and forth for, I guess, like a couple weeks since the last punch fear in the face, which I mistakenly called kick fear in the face. And that's what I feel like I want to do with this.
You can pick it. I'll allow it.
Yeah. And just so people know, I think I'll talk through my nervousness, but I think it's important to acknowledge that I am feeling nervous and excited at the same time. So anyways, let's get into it.
That is a thing. Nervousness and excitement feel the same in the body. So I always try to trick myself and say, I'm not feeling nervous, I'm feeling excited.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good thing.
Exactly, totally. Stephanie's saying, holy, great sound quality. Well, you're going to understand why in a moment when Dean tells you about his passion project.
Yeah, so I'll dive into it. And I've got a few notes pulled open here on the side, and then we can just dive in whatever wormhole we want and whatever the audience likes. But I'll just talk about myself. I'll try to do like a 30-second elevator pitch on like each kind of thing that I had in mind. So my name's Dean Douglas, and originally from Winnipeg, and recently moved to Penticton, BC in about 6.5 months ago. So I'm living in a new city. I had about a month and a half of normalcy, and then COVID hit, since we've been talking a lot about COVID. So happy to dive into the effects of that. And I have about 10 years experience in marketing. Really liked the first fear setter, what she was talking about in terms of copyright and the importance of copyright. That was great. So kudos to everything you're doing. That's very important. So I got about 10 years experience in marketing. I've been doing some side contract work on the side over the last say about year, and COVID put a halt on everyone's plans, basically moving forward. And so everyone was in a hiring freeze, and I thought that I would start my own business. So I dove in, and I got incorporated on June 11th. And so I started my own business. It's called Douglas Marketing Inc. And basically, I just provide marketing support to companies of all sizes. I've worked for large companies and small companies in the for-profit and non-for-profit space. And anyways, I started my own marketing company. I don't even have a good sales pitch other than that's what I did. And I know that we've talked about this as well, just the importance of doing things instead of getting trapped in your head. And I think this is definitely not just important for entrepreneurs, but just anyone, in terms of if you want to do something, just get out of your head and actually just do it. And being an entrepreneur is very messy, and you just figure it out as you go. I think the importance of sharing ideas early on is really important, as opposed to waiting. And usually, you were talking about fear. I think it's important to acknowledge that you have fear, and fear usually comes from a place that is just trying to protect you. Your ego is trying to protect yourself. But I think it's really important to share your ideas really early on, and just put yourself out there and just keep doing things. I found through COVID, it was a very creative time for me, and I created a lot. Maybe that was like part therapy and how I was dealing with it. But I actually did a 14-day vlog challenge, where, similar to what you're doing right now, Alyssa.
I'm really into this.
Yeah. So you did, or you are in the process of doing a 21-day accountability challenge, where you're recording a short video of yourself in the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, and you're saying, I promise to do X. And then you got to hold yourself accountable and then do it at the end. So love that challenge. I did something similar, and it was a 14-day vlog challenge, where I basically recorded myself on my cell phone and talked about just different ideas and thoughts that I had in my head. And then I shared them and I posted them, excuse me, out. I posted them on my YouTube channel, and then I shared them on my website as well. And I think I wanted to do that for a couple of reasons.
I was just going to ask, I'm really curious what inspired that.
Yeah. So I took a almost 2-year social media cleanse, where I deleted my Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, everything. I just completely went offline.
You're only creating more questions right now, but keep going.
Just log all the questions, and I will be happy to answer them one by one. But I took a social media cleanse. One of the reasons is because out of my 10 years experience in marketing, I've spent a lot of time in digital marketing, managing social media accounts, doing digital ads. And so I'm plugged in a lot during the day. And I think I was sharing with you, I remember like one evening being at home, and my wife and I were like sitting in the living room. There was a TV on, then the laptop was like to the right. I think I was on the laptop, she was on the iPad, and then we had our phones next to us. And I was like, good God, how many screens do we actually need? And we're not spending any quality time together. It was ridiculous.
Wait, that's not how you're supposed to do it?
That's not how you're supposed to do it. I know. And we were FaceTime. No, I'm just kidding. But it was, I don't know, just I guess like a moment where I was like, hey, I need to be more present, conscious. Like how much time in a day are we spending either thinking about like the future or the past, and not actually tuning into what's happening right now? And so anyways, I just did it as an experiment. I thought maybe I'll go offline for a month and see how that goes. And it ended up being like almost 2 years. And there was pros and cons throughout that time frame. One of them was I had a lot more free time.
Of course.
Yeah, but I don't know, on a macro level, I kind of see the negative side effects of social media. It's really easy to see them, and I feel like they get amplified, and I don't know, it's obvious. I think a lot of people are tuning into just the negative side effects to it, but I just saw that, yeah, so I had more time. I wanted to enrich my relationships and actually have more real relationships. So I didn't want to just like and follow people passively, which I think a lot of people do. I just shared a post. I'm back on social media, like I said, today, and I encourage people to not just like passively don't engage in social media in like just a passive way, but actually like comment and send a direct message and try to build some sort of relationship, because it can be a very disconnecting platform. And I mean, your ego can really get thrown all out of whack when you're comparing yourself to other people or whatever. But I think if you actually interact with people and try to build relationships with them, social media can be a very powerful tool. And so anyways, I have had time away from social media to collect my thoughts and be like, how do I want to engage as I reconnect? But I took that time off to focus on building relationships by actually like calling friends and FaceTiming them, Zooming them through COVID, which is great, and just actually have really good relationships. And then that kind of segues into the other passion project, which I started around that time as well, which is my podcast. And so it's called the Dean Douglas Show. It's just recently rebranded.
Love it. I challenged you to do that before today, didn't I?
Yes, you did. Thank you. And I'm in the process of it. Again, I'm like not waiting till it's perfect. I'm just figuring it out as I go.
Take messy steps. Don't wait for perfect.
Yeah, totally. And it was called the Simple to Understand podcast. And I realized that I want to put myself out there more digitally. One of the reasons why I wanted to come back to the social media world is to actually actively participate where I felt like in the past I wasn't. And there's so much noise out there, and I feel like there's so much garbage that I was tired of just like passively listening. And I'm usually a person that likes to collect the collective thought, and then I'll kind of come to whatever decision it is on my own and then move forward. But I just thought, I don't know, that you just hear of so much like bad advice out there that I thought, I actually think I have a lot of good advice that I'd like to share and connect with people in a way that I think there's a gap missing in the social media realm on like how to actually connect with people and like what's important. So the podcast has been a wonderful experience. I've recorded 16 episodes and plus the 12 vlogs that I also converted into an audio version as well. So a little bit over.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. A little bit over 30 episodes. And I think for anyone that's interested in starting a podcast, would love to talk about this and answer any questions. It's not as difficult as you think. And it's a great way. I've really benefited from from a relationship standpoint. I've got to sit down. The format is longer format, so an hour and a half to 2.5 plus hours per episode. And it's really nice to be able to talk to someone uninterrupted for that amount of time and peel away the layers of different topics that we talk about. And I reached out to Catherine, who was a fear setter from the first episode, and we connected. And again, not really knowing how that would go, but reached out to her. we had a great conversation, and we're going to be doing like a dual podcast. We're
Yay!
gonna be connecting, in August. But again, I don't think, if there's one point I want to make, it's you don't always have to have like a plan. You can just keep doing things.
That's super important. Like, I want to really emphasize that. Like, that's what held me back for so long, thinking you need a plan and you need to have every step of the way figured out. And it's a trap.
Yeah, totally. And
it's a total trap.
Yeah. And I actually had, I don't want to use this word, but I'm going to use it. I had like an epiphany moment when I was listening to, I'm going to say it anyways. I had an epiphany moment
good.
when I was listening to Alyssa talk, and it was, I don't know, I can't remember exactly the point that you guys were talking about, like anxiety, and then I think it was something that popped into my head about doing things. And I really liked how for me growing up, I spent a lot of time not knowing where I fit in or what I want to do with my life. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about what I want to do or don't want to do and where do I fit in and all this sort of thing. Through COVID, I've just been doing a lot of things. I've been creating a lot of things. And through the doing and the creating, I've been, I don't know, just like the path is like carved. It's just like I'm carving it as I'm going, and I don't really need to have this end destination. Like I think a lot of people find happiness when they reach the end, but like it's really about the journey. It like you got to enjoy, I think, the present moment as you proceed, more than, oh, when I have X or when I achieve this, that'll make me happy. Sorry, I know we're bouncing around a lot, but
it's okay.
Hopefully,
but I mean, I think enjoying the journey is the thing. Like that's something I've struggled with my entire life. Like that's what led to my meltdown, quite honestly. I always thought once I get my master's and I get my first job, then I'll be happy. Like that was always the distant goal. And I thought, okay, once I'll get there, I'll feel good. I'll have this degree and a job. And then you get there and you find, oh, I'm still not happy. Now what's next?
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. I think the journey is like I don't know, that's like the joy in life is actually just enjoying the day-to-day stuff. Mel says, trust the process. I believe it.
Absolutely. I have to put this on the screen. Your mom is here supporting you. She loves your new brand name and your podcast.
Mom, thanks so much for joining. I'm so glad that you're able to log on and like comment. That's awesome. Big hug.
Yeah, that's a win. That's a huge win.
That's awesome.
So I want to go back to this. Stephanie asked, what inspired you to start a podcast?
So I was actually originally inspired because I was listening to podcasts, and I was a fan of the Tim Ferriss show and the Joe Rogan Experience. And I really liked how, and there's pros and cons to both those podcasts, but I really like the longer format, like 2+ hours, where I was a fly on the wall listening to this conversation. I really liked that I got to learn about Joe or Tim and also the guest. It wasn't just like one-sided. I got to learn a lot. I'm also very curious, and I like finding out what makes people tick. And so I thought, this can't be that hard to do. Let's figure it out. One of the reasons why the audio is so good is I have like a Blue Yeti microphone, which is what I use to record my podcast. And I waited for, I think, a sale around Christmas time or something, under $100 on Amazon. And like, this is what I use for recording most podcasts. And that the audio is great. It's easy, but, and I really wanted to, going back to why I went off social media, I wanted to enrich my relationships. And so I thought, a perfect excuse. Everyone thinks or not everyone, but a lot of people think podcasts are cool. It's a great way to connect with people. People are like intrigued and interested into what goes on behind it. And they also like it's been a past, present, future look at each of my guests. And it's been really helpful for guests, feedback that I've received, for them to kind of reflect back on what was going, like, how did my past get me to the present and where am I going in the future? Because how often do you get to talk with someone about kind of your journey for that length of time? And so they found it very helpful and like got to connect some dots along the way, which was really cool. And I didn't plan that. It just kind of happened as much, but that's kind of what inspired me.
I bet it feels therapeutic for your guests to have that time to talk about themselves and reflect on their past and their future, present, like all of that, and to be heard.
Totally. One thing I will say, I wanted to improve my communication skills as well. So there's like you're figuring this out as you're doing this as well, Alyssa, just like being a host.
100%.
And so it's kind of a bit of an art form actually to like not control, but like just to guide a conversation. Because as a host, like I'm making sure that the conversation is flowing and I need to be listening to my guest. But at the same time, I also need to be thinking where, like, okay, I wanted to make sure that we talked about XYZ. What's the next topic that we're going to talk about, and try to make it like flow as much as possible. One like critique in the Tim Ferriss show is I find like he's so robotic on like, he's so efficient that he just like, he'll elicit a really great answer. And then he'll just jump into like his next question where it's like, at least for me, I take out of that, like, okay, if I'm going to have a really great answer, I want to like dig in the sand with them and get, and then like keep going. Like, wow, that's quite the answer. Like, let's keep going down that path. Yeah. So sorry. So I think the conversation, communication part was really, a bonus. It was also a transferable skill that I could use in the place that I worked at. So like I learned skills. So if I worked for a company, because I'm in marketing, and I thought, hey, this company would really benefit from having a podcast, then I would know how to create one for the company that I worked at. And the reason why I did this 14-day vlog challenge was because I wanted to watch myself, because it's very weird to just record yourself and you don't get any feedback and then you share it out online. Like it's a weird process, but
it's super weird.
Yeah. But I wanted to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think another thing that I would encourage other speakers, future speakers, to be is like, just keep putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. Because when you're uncomfortable, you're growing. And usually that's how you, like, it does kind of lead to happiness. I feel like humans are wired in a weird way where like we like to be comfortable, but we don't like being too comfortable, right? That's why I think Jim Carrey has a great quote where he says, I wish everyone, I think it's like, I wish everyone became a celebrity and made as much money as they ever wanted and realized it's not the answer. Like it's true. Like that's totally correct. So, yeah.
There's tons of people here who are interested in making a podcast. I'm actually one of them. This is something I've been thinking about for at least a year. My question is, what would you say are the benefits that you've gotten out of having your own podcast? Like, what are your favorite parts of it?
Oh man, I'm gonna try not to just like preach Tim Ferriss, but he like pops into my head a lot because I agree with him on a lot of stuff. But like I've heard the quote, like you are the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. And then I also think of like you, if you're the smartest in the room, you're the wrong one in the room.
Ooh, yeah.
So I don't know, the benefits of starting a podcast, at least for me, is I want to surround myself with like people that do things that I'm totally not, I have no clue what their life is about, and learn from them and see how they live their life. And I don't know, just surround myself with as amazing of people as possible. And I think podcasting has allowed me to make some pretty cool connections, and I hope that will continue.
This is my next question. Stephanie Ignea has it first. What are your recommendations for those who are starting their own podcast? What worked well for you? What hasn't? Like, where would you tell me to start?
So I think one important stat to remember, I think there's something like 700,000 or 800,000 podcasts out there. Okay, so that is like, whoa, that's a lot.
That's a big number.
But I think out of that, I think it's something like 95 to 97 or 98% of them don't have more than one episode.
Whoa.
So you're really just competing with like the top 1 to 3, 5%. If my stats are off, the top 10%. The main point is that if you want to start a podcast, do more than one episode, and it doesn't have to be polished and perfect. I'm a fan of minimalism as much as as much as I can be, and so I try to approach my podcast from like less is more, very simple approach, and I think that's encouraging. Don't read how to make a successful podcast. Don't Google that, because I've read the blog posts that have popped up, and I get overwhelmed. I'm like, oh God, I got to think of like, I got to decide between 10 different platforms that are going to host it. And then I got to figure out how much that's going to cost. And I got to choose a mic, and I got like, it's,
this is why I haven't started yet.
Yeah. You get like,
I have Googled, how do you start a podcast?
Yeah, honestly, you could record a conversation on your iPhone or Android. You could just like hit record, put the phone like on the coffee table, and record a conversation between two people. And then you can upload it onto your website if you want, or you could, I use a platform called Anchor, and Anchor is a free platform, and I upload an audio file, I add a title and description, and then I click publish, and it blasts it out to all the different podcast platforms. So it uploads to Apple Podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, etc. So I don't have to upload it like 12 different locations. It just blasts out, and it's free. So that's my recommendation there. That's my hack.
There's your sales pitch for it. Free. Yeah. That's all I need to hear.
Yeah.
Danielle says, I Google lots of things to validate what I know in my gut and make excuses overcomplicate sometimes. That's me. Yeah. That's me. And that's where I'm very actively pushing myself to just do. Like going back to what you said, just start. Take messy steps. You can figure it out as you go. If you make I always remind myself of this. If you're going fast and you make a mistake, you have time to correct it.
Mm-hmm.
If you overthink it and that decision you make is wrong, you don't have that same time to go back.
Yeah.
So or take a step fast.
Yeah. Or like fail quickly. Like, I think that's a good entrepreneur like tip out there is like fail quickly and often, and then just like hopefully not repeatedly fail at the same thing. Yeah.
Chris Wilson also has a tip for anyone in the audience looking to start a podcast. Seth Godin has a fantastic course called the Podcasting Fellowship that he took and recommends. Yes. Sounds cool. I'm a fan of Seth Godin.
Seth Godin's awesome. He's good.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff. I think the importance of like right now, I don't know, during COVID, people have felt like a lot of anxiety that we were talking about earlier. You guys were talking about earlier. I read a book recently called Tribe by Sebastian Junger, and he compares the difference of like modern society to tribal societies. and talks about a lot of different stuff. But I think surrounding yourself with like a tribe or connecting with people is really important. Like, we're social creatures. I think we need to connect as much as we can safely during COVID, face to face, and whether that be through Zoom or whatever, like take that for now. But I think it's really important to like reach out to people and check in and see how others are doing.
It is. And I love this. Stephanie suggests maybe for all of us who are over Googling things, we should first write down what we think is the answer before we Google. I like that. Maybe we realize then that we're right and we know more than we think, and we don't need to do that. I also love your mom. She says, if I can figure out with Gary how to get on this, anyone can start a podcast. That is the attitude, Lynn. Yes.
There you go, Mom.
Fantastic.
Killing it.
Your mom's great.
Oh yeah, she's number one fan. She's the best.
I like this question too from Stephanie. Besides yours, what are some of your favorite podcasts? I'm always looking for new ones.
Oh man, each episode is very different. If you want a good marketing podcast, one with Kirsten May is really good. If you want one about like female boss babe, really killing it, Jenna Yankin McRory is amazing, and then her husband Dan McRory is a really good episode as well. An entrepreneurship episode, a really good one. I've done a couple with Martin Addy, my buddy Marty in Vancouver. He's a business owner as well, and we've actually thought about doing a bunch of mini podcast episodes about business and just like different aspects. So like one, for example, is like how to set up shares in a corporation, which I had to do, and I had no clue what that meant and what that all, like, what's the process? How does that work? So we talked about that. I don't know, each episode is really unique. Each person that I talk to has like a really great story. So yeah, Frank Viert, I think that's episode 6. That was that one I think is my most popular episode, and he's a young guy in his, I think, mid 20s. And he's a dealer principal of a large auto group in Winnipeg. And he started from the bottom and worked his way up. And he's a really interesting guy and has a lot of really great motivation. But yeah, pick and choose one based on the description that you like best.
You also have a suggestion from Stephanie, which is maybe you can do some guerrilla podcasting in your future. I know you like taking walks.
It's great idea, Steph. I actually thought one way, because I want to create more content quickly, and I want to, if anyone, by the way, wants to help me with my podcast, I would love someone. I'm kind of looking for like a Jamie to my Joe Rogan podcast, and I'd be more than willing to like train and go through my whole process of like what I do, and I'm happy to change it as well if it improves efficiency. But it's the turnaround time from recording an episode to publishing it out live that I want to shorten. And one idea that I thought maybe I do some live podcast just through Instagram, and I do an Instagram live, and then you can share your screen with someone and then just like talk about whatever different topic. So that's one idea I thought of. But yeah, if anyone wants to help me out, then feel free to get in touch.
Amazing. And so if there's anyone there, get in touch with Dean. His website's up on the screen, thedeandouglasshow.com. And before we go, you challenged me, didn't you?
Yes, I did. We had talked briefly about the importance of having a vision, mission, and values. This is, I guess, like my marketing hat on now. And so I encouraged you to actually create vision, mission, and values for yourself. And they can be a reflection of like your personal vision and mission and values, but then incorporate it into the Win Journal or your business. And and just I'll talk just briefly about how they relate, and then we'll dive into how it's going for you. But I think like your vision is your guiding star. It's kind of your ideal future state that should also be somewhat unachievable. And we can talk about that a little bit more. And then your mission is how you are going to achieve your vision, the steps that you're going to take to get there. And then your values are like, how are you going to carry yourself forward in your mission to achieve your vision. So how did it go for you? And then we were gonna live. I was gonna give you feedback and critique it or whatever. So yeah, how did it go?
First off, that was a fantastic introduction and a good description of each one. How it went, I do have a rough draft for you to give me feedback on.
Awesome.
And I just want to say before we start, this is me facing a fear. For one, I do not like structured activities like this and planning this kind of stuff out. I just like, I don't know, I resist it a lot, and structure, even though I know it's good for me. Second, sharing my ideas is very uncomfortable for me and getting feedback. So like, I'm uncomfortable right now and I love it. So I'm super excited for this, just to lead into that.
Good.
Let me find the note. I have it on my phone. I don't know if I did it right. Like I said, I read those descriptions and they go very fast. And I'm like, oh, descriptions, definitions. I feel like I'm back in school. But let's see. So let me pull it up. Okay, let's see if I can find it in my notes.
I'm going to pull up mine as well, just so that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
More examples is good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Should I do it? Which one do I start with? Like, are you supposed to start with a certain one? Does it matter?
I think if this is first time people hearing it, start with the vision.
The vision. Okay. Eric, by the way, I'm not paying attention to the comments anymore. You please put them on screen because I'm looking at my phone. So he has a couple seconds to get himself ready or he's fired.
No pressure.
So we're starting with vision. I was not even listening. Vision. Okay. Vision? Yeah. Now, okay. Janie has the order for me. Thank you, Janie. Oh, that's a weird one to start with. It feels really big.
Get it out there. Rip the Band-Aid off.
My vision is to help people believe in themselves and take action. I don't want anyone to be second best to their true potential. And I truly believe it's our mind that puts us in that second best position. So I want to help people get over that.
Love it. Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah. So what's the mission? How are you going to achieve that?
How am I going to achieve that? I feel like it's what I'm doing. I do. I feel like I have two engines, if I want to describe it that way. Wins in the win journal, helping people realize that it's important to focus on your wins. It's important to celebrate them. It's important to take action in your life and to be proud of that. It really is that learning to love the journey and believe in yourself on the way. And then I think the second one is fears. I am a super fearful, anxious person by nature. I am afraid of everything. I'm a rock climber. I love rock climbing. It is my identity. And it took me 3 years before I actually pushed myself to try it, even though I wanted to.
Mm.
So, and I see the power, like I feel the power of getting over fears. And it's huge. You know, it broadens your perspective of what is possible and what you can make happen in the world. And it's crazy because no matter how many fears you fight, like I feel like in the last month, certainly, I'm on just a fear fighting mission, like fear fighting mission after fear fighting mission after fear fighting mission. And it's kind of addicting. Like there's something about, I don't enjoy the before, like before this, all day I was nervous. I don't feel like I got that much done because you're distracted by it. But I guarantee when this ends, and even while it's going on, like I feel on top of the world. And I just think, what's the next thing? that felt too hard to do, that felt outside my comfort zone, that I thought maybe I can't? What's that next thing? And I like that journey. I like that journey.
So what was your vision again?
My vision is to help people believe in themselves and take action.
Okay, so I think that's a great vision. One of the reasons why I think it's great is because it's it's unattainable in the sense that like you can do it with one person, and then there's going to be another person, and then there's going to be another person, and another person. So that's like the unattainable point in that. And I'll share. Well, actually, no, keep going. Okay, so what's your values?
Values. This one I found to be the hardest, to be honest, because I kind of feel like there's a lot of great values, and I feel like we could all kind of be like, oh yeah, like that's a value I want to follow. I also had, this is where my mind goes. I wanted them all to start with the same letter.
Yeah.
Not like, I don't know why. I think I like how it looks, but also I felt like it'd be easier for me to remember and integrate. So it starts with the letter that my last name starts with. So they're the 3 P's.
Okay.
One is passion. The second is positivity. And the third is, it's kind of technically 2 words, but personal initiative. And I'll explain all of those or in more detail. I'll let you probe.
What's the last one?
Personal initiative. Okay. So personal initiative is a soft skill that, to be honest, I think is the most important one to master. And it is one's likelihood, their kind of ability. I don't want to say trait or personality because I feel like people think that's fixed and it's not. But it's how likely you are to be a self-starter, to go after your goals, to take action, to keep going even when it gets tough, to overcome setbacks, to find a way and not just give up when it gets easy. And that's like the technical term for it, personal initiative, that the academics would call it. But it's one of those things that we just find is linked to everything. Personal initiative is linked to the types of jobs you get, the salary you get, how much you advance in your career. I think too, I don't know if there's studies for this. They usually look at how it relates to work because it is a work construct, but I'm certain it relates to happiness. I think it goes back to when you push yourself outside of your comfort zone and you keep going even when it gets tough and you take action on the things you care about. How can you not feel happier? You know, even if you're not all the way there, even if you're still on the journey, when you focus on taking action and you celebrate it, which is now looping back into the win journal, everything feels easier. Like, very truthfully, I don't know how I would be surviving COVID, especially the early month, like the first month, without it. Without that focus on the wins and the things that I'm still doing to improve my life.
Totally. And I think a good reframe for people, like failure, we're like programmed to think that failure is like, there's a lot of negative connotations, right? You get an F on a grade in school. Oh, like you're stupid or whatever. You're not enough. Whereas like, it's really the opposite in life. Like the more you fail, the more you learn, the more you grow, the happier you'll be. Like if you are rock climbing, if you never failed in rock climbing, you would be always just rock climbing on the ground and you wouldn't climb up at all. And you would be not a rock climber. You would just be an observer. So, I mean, you have to, like failing is good. I think, I don't know, especially as an entrepreneur, like the more you fail, the better you become. And so like, I think that reframe is really important to highlight. And I love your vision, mission, and values, by the way. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I tried not to overthink it too much because that's my tendency.
Totally.
But it was actually a good exercise. Like, despite being the person who hates structure and puts it off as long as I can, there's benefit. And I do like that it's something that I can go back to when I have those opportunities and I'm trying to decide what's important, to say, like, how does it lead into that? Is this going towards it? Is it getting away from it? Is it just kind of standing still? Like, I think that's the power of it.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of like plans, and I like kind of being free flowing and figuring stuff out as much as I can, but to spend time, and you don't have to be an entrepreneur, like start a business to do this. I highly encourage, like, I think kids should be doing this at a young age, figuring out what their vision, mission, and values are at that time. And it's okay to change that at, like, if you do it in elementary, okay, do it again in junior high, do it again in high school, do it again after like in your late teens, do it in your 20s, do it in your 30s, like keep changing it. God, I hope that you do. And I hope it looks different, because like as you get older, your priorities change, your life changes. Like, I think it should change with you. I think that's good. Is it okay if I share my vision?
Yeah,
mission,
definitely.
value?
I think it's helpful for the audience too.
Okay. So this is for like my company, Douglas Marketing, but then I also think it's a personal reflection of like my personal vision, mission, and values. So my vision is to bring forth and share the best in companies. It's actually very similar to yours, Alyssa, just reworded differently. And where that kind of comes from is I think I have this ability where I can tend to see, I look through the lens when I meet people. I'm very like optimistic and positive, and I try to pull out the best in other people. So I want to do that with the companies that I work with. So that's kind of my vision. And then my mission is strategically share valuable and genuine content. So that is how I'm going to bring forth and share the best in companies, by strategically sharing valuable and genuine content. And then my values, I just came up with two, authenticity and transparency. So I want to try to be as authentic and transparent in how I do business. And then also on a personal level, how I like interact with people. So that's it.
It's great. I love it. And yours, one thing I love about yours is its simplicity.
Yeah, it takes a long time to like to get to that.
I think you told me it took you a day or so.
Yeah, it took me a full day, but I also worked for the last place that I worked at, and the previous CEO, which is where I worked closely with him. He really drove home, and we went through the whole new vision, mission, values process on a large company scale. And that kind of inspired me to make sure that I did it on my own if and when I ever started my own business. So it was good going through that through a company that I past worked at.
I like this. Danielle said, I also found it really helpful to get feedback from others on how they view me. A therapist I worked with years ago uncovered values I couldn't put into words based on our sessions.
Oh yeah.
I think that's true. There's something, sometimes we're too close to ourselves and we don't see ourselves quite clearly. Do you find that?
Yeah. And I would just say, like, I don't know, maybe like vet who you want to get feedback from.
Ooh, that's super important.
Like, don't I don't know, like, be careful where you're getting your information from, you know, like, are you getting diet advice from someone who's like not healthy? Are you getting, so I don't know, just like filter it to a healthy point. Don't bias it as well. Find that balance.
I think that's a good point. I was talking to a business coach just casually, and she said, you need to ask the right people for help.
Yeah.
She says a thing she commonly hears from entrepreneurs, especially when they're starting, is, well, I had my mom look at it. I had my friends look at it. I had these people look at it.
Right. Yeah.
And she goes, are those the right people to be asking, or are they biased?
Yeah, totally.
And I don't think you shouldn't share them with your family and friends, but I think you need to qualify the feedback a bit.
Yeah, like, are they entrepreneurs as well, or do they have a lens of, I don't know, not. Like entrepreneurship is scary, and I don't know, comes from like a fear place. Like where are they coming from as well?
Yeah, that's super important.
Mm-hmm.
I have a challenge for you might like.
Okay.
Or you might hate. I don't know. I just thought of this since you're in the process of rebranding, and it's an exercise that I'm doing that I'm finding super uncomfortable. And that is, I'm doing this in a private Facebook group, but I think it'd be even more interesting to do just live to even your Instagram maybe, which is maybe for, let's say, 5 days in a row, go live and do your elevator pitch every day.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I've had to do that for the last 9 days. And I do it. It's so uncomfortable.
So I'm pitching like Douglas Marketing, why you should join.
That, or your podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And just saying like, this is who we're for. This is what we're about. This is why you want to check it out. Like, it's an interesting process. I find you think like you have your pitch, and then when you're doing it every day, first of all, you lock it down, and you also get to try new things. So even like what would be interesting is challenge yourself to even pitch a different audience each time.
Oh, yeah.
Because like most companies, podcasts, whatever, like it might not be that you just have one audience. Like usually you have a few, and try out different pitches. Like I've been challenging myself for the last 9 days to not have the same pitch. Like sometimes I try leading with a question. Sometimes I lead with like, you try different things, and it's been an interesting exercise and uncomfortable, especially when you're doing it live and you think, shit, what if I make this sound horrible live talking to people?
Yeah, totally. Okay, sure. I'll do it.
You're in?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry to throw that one on you while you're live and have the pressure.
No, I'm totally down to do it. I think I don't quite know what I'll say, but that's okay. I don't know. You just figure it out.
That's how I feel still every morning. Like I have to do this for 21 days. I'm like, okay, I'm over a third of the way through, but like, what am I going to say next? And I'm genuinely challenging myself to like not have the exact same pitch. Because I also don't think it's good to have just a fully memorized one. Mm-hmm. Like I think that comes off as really not as genuine. Mm-hmm. But I think if you work through the process of on a daily basis, forcing yourself to pitch and pitch differently, mm-hmm. I think by the end of it, and it might be more than 5 days, honestly, because I'm on day 9 and I still don't have it fully down. But I think if you do that afterwards, it doesn't matter who you're talking about to or any of, like, you'll know what to say. You'll have messages for different audiences. You'll have just different lines. And when you see how someone's reacting, you'll have that kind of toolbox almost to pick from. I don't honestly know if this will work. This is my theory. I'm hoping that's how it will be for me at the end of these 21 days. Yeah. But I think it's a good exercise. Like, how often do we actually pitch ourselves or our passion project or our business to people out loud and concise?
One of the things that I love about the Win Journal and what you're doing is actually like you're celebrating successes. And I think it's really important and highly encourage, like, I don't know, I would challenge the audience to like share a success or a win publicly. And I think that is like really important because you'll get more comfortable. You were talking earlier about like building confidence. Like you're gonna do that by like, you know, competing in the arena, not just like witnessing what's going on. And so I think it's really important for people to and if you see someone that's like fumbling, trying to like figure out a way to like compliment that they're sharing a win or success, like give them positive, encouraging feedback. Like, I don't know, one of the reasons why I wanted to be a speaker on this event is because the first time I was overjoyed to see how many different people got together and really supported and encouraged one another. And you can kind of get lost in the cesspool of YouTube comments or garbage online, when really I think the majority of people are well-intentioned, good-hearted, and like, you know, want others to succeed, I hope, or I would like to at least encourage that more so. So in sharing your successes, I think that's like really important. And I think you'll actually be surprised at the positive feedback that you'll get back.
It's also important if we look at the research. I'm sorry, I have to put my research hat on here. Was a researcher for over 8 years. What we find in the research is that writing your wins down or sharing them publicly, your just daily wins, makes you more likely to reach those bigger goals you have.
Totally.
Like something that simple can have a huge impact on whether you obtain your goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
And it just feels good. Like I've noticed there's times where a friend will tell me, oh, I had a win today. I went for a run this morning. I'm talking about you, Elena, if you're here. And it fires me up. Like I had no intentions to run that day, and I'll see that text and I'm like, you know what? Good for you. And now I want to do that. And then you fuel each other with your wins. And
Totally.
like, how many of your friends, this is something I actually think about and I feel bad. So any of my best friends, Stephanie Ganea, Elena Mills, like anyone there, we often tell our friends the worst things that are happening in our lives,
Right.
but not the good. You're
Yeah.
like, hey, this horrible thing's happening. This person treated me like shit. This person's driving me crazy. How often do you just share what's going well in your life and what your wins are with your friends?
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
So thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
We almost were going 2 hours again this time, and I intended to make it 1, so I don't know what the hell is happening.
It's all good. Yeah,
But
thank you.
I appreciate it so much. Time's up. Thank you, Eric. I'm surprised you didn't put that on us earlier.
Time's up. Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having me, and thanks for everyone for joining.
Thank you, Dean. Before you go, what is one question you want to ask the audience? I find this is really interesting, like the answers we get when the speakers ask questions. So what question would you like to ask? It could be about anything.
I don't know, maybe it's a self-reflection question of like, what are the habits that you think are holding you back?
Ooh, what are the habits that are holding you back? I'm going to make you answer that while people are thinking about it. Yeah.
What are my habits that are holding me back?
Yeah.
I don't know. On a simple level, I think it's just like continuously putting myself out there. I think that's like tough to do.
I'm sorry. Eric is being held back by Netflix. This is too true.
Yeah, that's true. That's the real deal. Netflix, Amazon Prime, Apple, you name it. That's holding me back for sure.
I'm totally opposite. Like Eric struggles to get me to watch TV. Like I'm trying to convince him to get rid of Netflix, get rid of a TV, get rid of our couch. But I'm going to answer that too. What's a bad habit that's holding me back? I don't know if this is a habit, but it's still caring what people think about me. Like that's the biggest thing holding me back. And that's why I'm here doing this and like actually saying things I believe in.
Yeah, procrastination. There you go. Nailed it, Judith.
Totally. Yes, that's a huge one. Huge one.
Oh, actually, it's to build on that. It's like doing things that I don't want to do. Like I usually try to reason and I try to do the things in my day that I want to do. And I really struggle with doing things that I don't want to do if I don't feel inspired, if I don't feel XYZ, but I should do them. And I think one good way to try and think of how to get over that is think of the thing that you really don't want to do, but you know you should. And you just have that opposing force that you're like, oh, I just don't want to do that. And you experience this, at least I did a lot in school. But when you like write that paper or do the thing that you were most dreading, usually you feel great afterwards. And it's kind of like the leading domino that tipped over all the other things, and you start to get some momentum. So I don't know, lean into the biggest force of resistance and get whatever that is done off your list, preferably at the beginning of the day.
That's huge. And another way you can remember that is practice opposite action. Whatever that thing you don't want to do, practice doing that. And then take note of how it feels. If you have a win journal, that is the time to write it in your win journal and really celebrate it. And like, I'm reading a lot about neuroplasticity right now and stuff like that, like giving that extra cheer to your win helps rewire your brain so that next time it's easier to take that action you don't feel like. So that's huge. We're getting like a lot of responses. There's a lot of perfectionisms in the crowd. I feel you. And procrastinators, I feel you. And Dean's answer is the way. Like you need to practice leaning into it.
Yeah, you're doing this with running. I overheard I don't know if it was one of your videos. You're like, I run because I hate it. And I'm like, I love that. Keep doing that. And like, that's also going to be a net positive for like your health and your mind as well. So
here's how much I hate running. Yeah. If I'm lucky, I have a couple minutes at the beginning where I feel really strong and I'm like, I'm on top of the world. This is amazing. Very quickly that ends. And for the remaining 18 minutes, I literally play mind games the entire time. Sometimes I pretend that I'm a magnet being pulled home. And like it's like my legs are not my own. I just literally pretend I'm a magnet. Like how fucking weird is that? So to anyone in my neighborhood, if you see me running, I'm doing all types of weird things in my mind, but it works. Like it helps. It's so crazy. I just imagine being pulled home effortlessly.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And I just sometimes it'll be another one. When there's stop signs, I get extra excited. And I just think, no, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. You're not going to tell me to stop. I'm going to keep going. So you can do hard things and you might have to find weird ways to stick with it, but that's okay.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And there's me fighting my fear of what people think of me because that is weird ass shit. I get it, but it works for me.
There you go.
Awesome. So Dean, I'm going to kick you off now. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm going to be looking for your videos. I want to see some elevator pitches.
Yeah, sounds good.
Everyone go follow Dean Douglas. We're going to cheer on his elevator pitches. Let's all go on the live and cheer him on. That's even scarier and we'll push him even more.
Sounds good. Love it.
Thank you so much, Dean. It's been so fantastic. This is a win for you. So now, first of all, thank you so much for sticking around. We're almost at 2 hours again, which is, I'm sorry, but I'm also thrilled to see that so many of you are still here and you're going to be rewarded for it. So we do have a chance for you to win the Win Journal for You and a Friend. Any cover you want, you can win it. So we have a link. Eric just dropped the link in the comments. And he has it on the screen. It's very, very complicated. So please look to the comments for this link. Eric, is that in Facebook as well too? Do we have the link in the Facebook comment too? He's checking it out. But essentially, if you want to enter to win, you just provide your email address. You'll be joined to our email list. You can cancel at any time. One of the benefits of being on it is I always send key takeaways from these lives in those emails. So if you want a reminder next week on Wednesday, that is the place to go, and you will have a chance to win the journal. So far, Eric, Stephanie's saying the link is just on YouTube. Eric, you need to figure out how to get that link into the Facebook comments for everyone. Your job rides on this, no pressure. Do we have it? I'm trying to find out if there's a way. I think I can probably drop it as well. Let's see. Stephanie says Eric's fired. It's getting close. It's getting close. I have the link. I'm actually going to drop it in the comments in one moment if Eric hasn't already beat me to it. This is how you do it. This is taking messy steps. It doesn't always go right every time. Things go wrong. You go overtime. Links are not where they're supposed to be. But you figure it out and you work through it. That is always how it goes. So do we have this link in here yet? Oh, perfect. Eric's got it on the Facebook. He saved his job. Eric still has a job, everyone. Cheer him on. Yes, we love and need you, Eric. Thank you for putting that out. And so you can go and win the win journal through that link, but there is one other surprise. And I might do something interesting with this to make it extra spicy because I feel a little bad that I put Dean on the spot with these elevator pitches. It's honestly not fun to do at all. But moving on, Eric, could you pull up the banner for our special accountability challenge line? Amazing. So I am trying an experiment. I honestly have no idea how this is going to go, but I have a platform that you can get in touch with me, and we are going to do an accountability challenge together. So if you want, text 917-540-3345 to join this accountability challenge. And this was something I heard a lot of people say last time. They got inspired, but they wanted something more after to keep them accountable. And that's something for me that has been the biggest thing in success, having someone to hold you accountable. When I had a therapist, yes, she gave me fantastic advice and helped me see things from a different perspective. But the big thing was I was accountable. I knew that when I was coming there, I was accountable. I was doing things to try to take care of myself. The same thing in business. Having a coach can keep you accountable. Accountability is the name of the game. And what I'm going to do, I'm doing these live challenges on Facebook where I say, I come on by 10 live and I tell you what I'm accountable for. And I want to do that for you. So if you want a personal coach, an accountability coach, we are going to try for the next 3 months this experiment. It might be a total failure. And if you text that number, no one's getting your number except me. Like, we're not selling it. We're not spamming you, nothing. If you want less text from me, if you find you're getting too many, tell me and I'll send you less. This is a direct line to me, and we will hold each other accountable. So I will tune in by 10 a.m. I will tell you what I'm doing for my business and to improve my life. And then you can reply back by voice message, by video, by text, whatever you are comfortable with. You tell me what you promise me you are going to do for yourself, your business, whatever it is today. And then again, I will tell you by 10 p.m. what I did, if I kept my promise to you, and you can send me the same. And we'll keep each other accountable. This is also a venue for us to share our wins. Like I was saying with Dean, sharing your wins publicly is important. Writing them down is important. You can text me your wins and I will celebrate them with you. And if you have any questions or need encouragement, I will be there. That is your direct line to me for this 3-month experiment that might be a complete bust. I don't know. Please, someone at least sign up so that I don't feel like it's a complete failure. But I find one thing that I don't like about what we're doing is that it requires social media or your email, which can be a very, very negative place. And this is a chance for us to connect and keep each other accountable without having to go there, without having to go to Facebook or Instagram where there are lots of distractions. So if you want an accountability buddy, if you want a win cheerleader, I am here for you. Text that number to join. Like I said, you can leave at any time. We're not spamming you. We're not selling your information. This is purely to help support you and this community together. Whew. So thank you so much for joining. I am honestly so grateful to see so many people stuck to the end. I'm working on making this shorter. I feel bad it goes so long, but also grateful that you guys are loving it. Stephanie says, sign me up. Thank you so much. I will not be alone in this crazy experiment I'm trying. You can always count on your best friends for that. So please join me. We'll be doing this accountability challenge. Like I said, here is the number on the screen, 917-540-3345. That'll also be the place that you get exclusive access, first access and dibs on events like these. And it might even evolve into fear challenges, pushing ourselves to grow and get better and lean into that discomfort. So I am here for you. I hope you will join me and be here for me as well. I cannot wait. And thank you so much for showing up. I love you all, and I cannot wait till next time. We will be doing another event next week. It will be Thursday, not Wednesday. Can I send you memes? Yes, you can, Stephanie. Please send me memes. You can send me GIFs or GIFs or however you say it. Any of those. Danielle's in as well. Thank you, Danielle, one of our OG fear fighters. I appreciate the support. Lynn Douglas, I cannot wait to meet you one day. I feel like I need to. You're like my other mother. I love you and your support. Thank you so much. Amazing. Oh, thank you. Judith, thank you for the testimonial. Alyssa is a great motivator. I really appreciate it. I cannot wait to be in touch with you guys more. Like I was trying to say, though, before I got distracted, we will be having this event again next week for a very special edition, the Makers Edition, partnered with Crafty Creators Club, which is founded by Janie Vu, an amazing commenter we have here. So please tune in for that. It'll be next Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time again. So I cannot wait to see you. Until then, keep on winning. I cannot wait to fight more fear again. Have a fantastic night, everyone. I love you. Please drop a comment if you have any feedback or suggestions for these events. I read every single one afterwards, and I'm trying to make this as great as possible. So I appreciate your feedback. Alyssa, I already told you this. You're such a gem. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Danielle. Whew. Thank you, guys. This honestly, it's kind of making me a little emotional, but I love that you guys show up here for me and come and fight your fears and share your wins. It is fantastic. Yes, Stephanie, see you guys next week. I cannot wait to see you all. It really fires me up when I see familiar faces. So I will see you guys next week. And again, keep on winning. Love you all.